Alright guys, so I just discovered this gem of a game that's entering early access soon. And after completing the demo, I wanted to do a video discussing my first impressions and just give some overall information about this upcoming title. Just to get it out of the way, I did greatly enjoy the demo. The world of Camelot and all the stories of King Arthur is something I really did love as a kid. So seeing it brought to life to tell new stories is something I'm very intrigued by. But before we take a deep dive in this fantastic demo, I just want to take a brief moment and welcome anyone new to the channel. If you are new, please consider subscribing. I got a ton of stuff in the works that I love to share with you all. Also, if you do happen to enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like. But anyways guys, we got a lot to get into, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so you start the game off waking up in your cell in a dark, dungy prison. Does that sound familiar? And as you're talking to this prison guard who's obviously talking down to you and demeaning you, all of a sudden, boom, an arrow flies off screen into his head and just takes him out. And that's where your journey begins, as your rescuer just gives you some brief information, tells you to make your way out of the prison, and he'll meet you outside once you make it. So yes, it is kind of a stereotypical beginning for an RPG, but I don't care because whatever. You know, the prison scenes are always pretty cool, and honestly it kind of gave me flashbacks of Oblivion, which I did not mind at all. So yes, you make your way through the prison trying to escape, and this is just obviously the prelude to the opening of the game. However, already you could tell this world is very dark and very brutal. I mean, you come across journals where they talk about doing experiments on people. You see brains and hearts on shelves, so obviously they've been really experimenting on the prisoners. It almost feels like you're escaping some sort of very fanatic religious cult, and it's like very dark and eerie. In fact, there's even one scene where you come over this bridge, and if you look down, you see this giant monster pushing this wheel. It's almost like the scene up from Conan where he's pushing the wheel of death, but it's like on steroids. And honestly, I was like, holy crap, there's a giant monster down there. That is super cool. It makes me want to get out into the world and see what other monsters I could take on and what other like religious fanatics this world has to offer. Like, I'm already intrigued by it, and I've only put like maybe 30-40 minutes into the game, which is a very good sign. A game should hook you from the beginning and really want you to explore the world. Too many games is like, oh, it's boring and monotonous for the first 5 hours, but give it a chance. Like, this game instantly hooked me with the atmosphere. In fact, I'm just going to play the opening cutscene so you guys could get a small taste of what this demo has in store for you.
Ravaged by the plague, leading people to Avalon, he started the Age of Conquest and took the island from the Four Dwellers. Using the mysterious powers of Menhirs, together with Merlin, they cleansed the land of the weirdness, a primordial force of chaos and possibility.
Okay, so that wasn't the full clip, but it was just part of it. But as you can already see, the music, the voice acting, and the atmosphere is very intriguing. In fact, is not just in the cutscenes, but I'm sure you see on the actual gameplay I'm showing how dark this game is. It honestly it reminds me of the old school Thief games, but it plays like Oblivion or Skyrim. I don't know if that makes sense, but that was the vibe I got from this. I will say, I know the game is based on the lore of a board game by the same name, but I'm gonna be honest, I have never played that board game, so I'm kind of going into this world for the first time, and that's just the vibe I got. So I don't know if it's being accurate to those things. I'm assuming it is. Let me know in the comments down below if you played the board game and if you played the demo and if it matches up. From my perspective though, this world seems extremely cool, and I can't wait to learn more about it. However, cool dialogue, cool music, cool atmosphere only goes so far. After all, gameplay matters a lot. We're playing a video game, so gameplay is the most important thing. And I'm happy to say that I felt the combat system and the skills have a great foundation. In fact, You can even dash in this game, which is really awesome. I haven't played too many RPGs where you have a dash mechanic like this. So dashing your way out of an enemy attack only to counter with a two-handed giant sword was really fun. I usually always play my first playthrough as a melee style character using a big two-handed weapon. So the groundwork was phenomenal and already set. That being said, I do hope they improve it as time goes on. I feel like weapons should have much more of an impact when attacking a foe. Plus the blood effects need a lot of work. There is blood in the game. I mean, here's an example. Look at the guard from the start as he takes the arrow to the head. You can see blood come out of the wound as the arrow goes in. However, just a few moments later, when you're looting, the guy has no wounds at all. Look at the arrow. It looks kind of ridiculous how it's just poking into his face and then poking out the other side. In fact, all the combat's like that. You swing your weapon, red mist comes out, but afterwards there's no cuts, there's no gashes, there's literally nothing. It would be cool if the game did show some of that damage on the foes. I feel like it would make you look like your weapon's actually impacting them. In fact, they don't really stumble, they didn't really have any impact. It's just you slash them, red mist comes out, and that's it. So unless you parry them, because the game does have a parry system, I feel like any attacks really didn't do much of anything at all. But don't let that ruin it for you. As I said, this is going into early access, and the foundation for combat is already there and it's off to a great start. Plus, the developers have already said they're planning on improving melee fighting in the game. In fact, they have a list of things that they want to upgrade throughout the development process. This includes stuff like dual wielding weapons, a thievery system, stealth improvements, and tons of other features that they're working on. So it's great to see that they already know this does need improvement and they're already aware of it. Plus, from what I could tell, these developers are actually taking feedback from the community. I did kind of go through the Steam forums, and most of the time when people say, hey, like I have feedback for the demo, and they give like constructive criticism and constructive feedback, the developers actually respond and say they're going to take it into account and consideration, which is really, really awesome. Too many times these games go into early access and the developers are radio silent, which I think is truly disingenuous. In my opinion, early access is players buying in, understanding that they're beta testers. Well, if you're a beta tester, your feedback should be taken in consideration, and it does seem like this development team is going to do that, so that is phenomenal. In fact, in the FAQ section on Steam, they have this up, and it says, working with the community is one of our core values. So we will involve people at many levels. We will be active here on Steam, giving updates and reading all the comments, as well as on our Discord server. Discuss things in more detail. Players will have a real impact on the design and balance of the game. And honestly, I love to see that. Like I said before, you're going into early access to give constructive criticism, and at least it looks like they're going to listen. I'm not going to say they're going to add everything we request or what we think should be in the game, but at least the dialogue is open, and that is truly awesome. So yes, my overall thoughts are this game has a great foundation. The story, the world, the atmosphere, the music, the voice acting, top notch, at least for indie games, top notch, and it's something I do want to explore more of. In fact, when I ended the demo, I was ready to go in chapter 1 and start exploring and learning more about this world, which is a great sign. But I want to hear what you all think. Are you guys excited about this game? Are you willing to give it a chance? Are you going to dive into the early access? Or are you going to kind of wait to see the final release of the game? Let me know in the comments down below. As for me, I got a ton of work to do, so I'm going to get back to the grind, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.